The sky above Valerian Ix was a cool violet, choked with jagged clouds that shimmered with static. Shards of atmosphere-fried rock still rained down, glowing faintly as they cooled in the jungle's mist. Lieutenant Dax Moron lay sprawled in a crater of blackened stone and melted soil, his helmet cracked, his tactical suit torn open along the ribs. Blood, dark and thickened by atmospheric toxins, seeped from the gash across his side. His lungs fought for air, but found only acidic mist that tasted like copper and smoke. Each breath burned deeper. He tried to raise his arm, but it felt like lifting lid. A comms in his helmet hissed with useless static. Command. This is Morin, mission compromised, Phoenix Squad Kier. I repeat. He coughed hard, the inside of his visor smeared with red flecks. No response. Just the hollow echo of a man too far, gone to matter dot. Then came the sting. He didn't seethe. Dart only felt it. A tiny prick on his neck, followed by the immediate fire of something foreign and alive crawling into his veins. His vision swam as his neural implant lit up with a warning. Biocorruption detected. Foreign pathogen in bloodstream. Auto-injector failure. Then, fatality imminent. No, he muttered, barely audible. He gritted his teeth and rolled onto his stomach, dragging himself inch by inch through the debris. The jungle loomed just beyond the crater's edge, twisting, shimmering, alive. Massive trees rose like spires, their trunks veined with blue light, their leaves glistening with moisture that smelled faintly sweet. Dax reached the edge of the crater, his breath wheezing, and forced his body forward into the underbrush. Thorns clawed at his arms. The soil was soft and warm, almost pulsing beneath his hands. He was hallucinating. He had to be. The air buzzed with a strange hum of insects he couldn't see. Bioluminescent plants glowed with shifting hues, pink, then orange, then a color he had no name for. His body trembled violently now. The neuroacid was working fast. Every nerve screamed. His fingers curled involuntarily, his muscles twitching out of sync. He could feel the heat of the poison crawling up his spine toward his brain. His heart stuttered. His vision fractured into shards of light. He collapsed beside a shallow pool that rippled despite the still air. Across its surface, moonlight played. In swirling ribbons, it looked like a dream-soft water, glowing flowers, a gentle wind. Too beautiful for this cursed world. That was when he saw her dot at first. He thought it was another hallucination. A figure stepped from the mist beyond the pool, tall, slender, wrapped in folds of silk-like cloth that shimmered like water under starlight. Her skin glowed faintly, the color of polished lavender. Hair like living obsidian framed a face that wasn't human, but wasn't monstrous either. Just different, alien, timeless. Her eyes were large, luminous, and full of something he hadn't seen in a long time. Pity. She moved without a sound, kneeling beside him. He couldn't lift his head, but he could feel her presence, the warmth of her body, the light she carried like a second skin. Her hand brushed against his neck, and he flinched, but there was no pain. Just calm. Cool fingers, soft and sure. "You are dying," she said, her voice melodic, resonating not in his ears, but in his bones. "Your blood is burning. The pain will take you soon." "Help," he managed. "Please." She leaned closer. Her scent was something impossible, like rain on hot stone, mixed with the sweetness of crushed leaves and something he could only describe as starlight. "I can help you," she whispered, "but you must do as I say." He nodded, or tried to. His mouth tasted of metal and ash. Her fingers moved to his chest, resting just above his heart. They glowed against his skin, pulse for pulse. "Close your eyes," she said gently, "or the pain will never end." He didn't understand, but something in her voice, ancient and honest, cut through the haze. He obeyed Dot as darkness overtook him. He felt her hand press firmly over his chest. Warmth bloomed from her touch, spreading outward. The pain dulled. The trembling eased. He surrendered to the unknown, to her. And the world vanished in silence. Asterisk. The first thing he felt was warmth, not the searing burn of infection, but something deeper, like sunlight through skin. It pulsed in his chest, spreading outward with every slow, steady heartbeat. Dax drifted, in that feeling for a long time, weightless, without breath, thought, or pain. Somewhere in the dark, a soft voice echoed not in words, but in emotion. It wrapped around him like a memory of being held, long before the war, before the armor, before the loneliness. When his eyes fluttered open, he wasn't on the battlefield anymore. The air was thick with golden mist that caught the light like dust motes dancing in a dream. He lay on a smooth bed of woven plant fiber, wrapped in cloth that shimmered blue when it moved. Bioluminescent vines crawled across the cave ceiling above him, casting gentle shadows that ebbed and flowed with the light. The walls were alive, veined with glowing roots, beating like a slow heartbeat. Nearby, a small pool reflected the soft flickers, its surface untouched and perfectly still. He tried to sit up, but his muscles protested, weak and unfamiliar. His hand went to his chest, the wound gone, not even a scar. His skin felt new, almost too smooth. He looked at his forearm, no bruises, no infection tracks, no pain. Whatever had burned through his bloodstream was gone. But how? A whisper of movement pulled his attention to the other side of the chamber. She stood there, watching him. The same alien woman from the jungle. Her robes were a darker blue now, like midnight wrapped in water, clinging gently to her figure. She held a curved vessel in her hands, made of something translucent and organic, like molded crystal grown from the earth itself. "You survived," she said softly, stepping closer. Her voice still carried that musical cadence, like wind through hollow stone. Dax tried to speak, but his throat cracked. She raised the vessel to his lips before he could ask. The liquid inside was warm and thick, sweet with a taste he couldn't name, both earthy and clean, like the essence of something ancient. As it slid down his throat, strength returned to his limbs, his breath easier. He coughed, then looked at her. What was that? She placed the vessel on the ground and knelt beside him. It is the milk of the Aliri, the fluid that carries our life essence. It heals, but only if the body accepts it. Her gaze met his, and only if the eyes remained closed. He frowned. Why? She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she gently placed a hand on his shoulder, her skin cool but comforting. Because healing of this kind is sacred. It is not meant to be seen. The act must be accepted in trust. To see it is to risk breaking the bond that allows it. So, it's some kind of religious thing? He asked, his voice still hoarse. She tilted her head slightly. Not religion, something older. A covenant. The milk is not just nourishment. It is memory, spirit, soul. It cannot be forced. It must be given and received blindly. Dax's heart pounded, not out of fear, but awe. You saved my life. Why? Her expression softened. Because I felt your suffering, even before I found you. And because something. In you? She hesitated, as if the words caught on something unspoken. Something called to me. He leaned back against the nest-like bedding, trying to process it all. I don't even know your name. I am Vela, she said, of the Aliri Sanctuary. And you are far from your kind, Lieutenant Dax Moron. He blinked. How do you know I touched your essence, she said simply. While healing you, I saw fragments of your life, your pain, your duty. I know you. He swallowed hard, unsettled and strangely comforted. No one had ever said that to him before. Not truly. Not like that. Her hand remained on his shoulder. Your body is healing, but the bond is delicate. If broken too soon, the sickness may return. You must rest. He nodded, sleep already dragging him back under. As his eyes closed, he felt her presence beside him, a soft glow in the dark. No longer a stranger, no longer a lone dot in the distance. Beyond the cave walls, the jungle breathed. But here, in this sacred spring, time stood still, held in the quiet heartbeat of something ancient and forbidden. The dreams that came were unlike anything Dax Morin had known. They weren't dreams of war, or the silence between gunfire. They were vivid and slow sensations without shape. A hand brushing his cheek, a breath against his neck. Warmth, deep and endless, like floating in a sea of starlight. He felt her presence there too, not like an intruder in his mind, but as if she had always been a part of it, waiting behind a closed door he'd never noticed. When he awoke, he was alone again, but not empty. The bioluminescent ceiling had dimmed, casting a gentle twilight across the sanctuary cave. The woven bedding beneath him had reshaped itself while he slept, cradling his spine perfectly. His body felt stronger, more alive than he'd felt in years. Every breath was easy, every sound sharper. The rustling leaves outside, the slow drip of mineral-rich water from a distant stalactite, the whisper of moss growing against the cave walls. Even his heartbeat felt ... changed, slower, steadier, in sync with something far larger than himself. And when she returned, he knew it before he saw her. Vela entered without a sound, carrying a bundle of cloth and a curved fruit that glowed faintly from within. She wore a different robe now, lighter, threaded with silver strands that shimmered with her movement. The glow in her skin had softened, but it pulsed in time with her footsteps. Dax sat up slowly, watching her cross the room. Asterisk. I can hear you before I hear you, he said, blinking. Like a ... hum. She smiled gently, placing the bundle near him. You are hearing the rhythm of the bond. Your body is still syncing with mine. It will pass, in time. He looked at his hands, flexing his fingers. This isn't just healing. Something else is happening to me, isn't it? Vela crouched beside him, tearing open the fruit. Its soft interior gave off steam, like warm nectar. She handed it to him wordlessly. You're changing, she said after a moment. The milk doesn't just fix what is broken. It learns. It adapts. It teaches your body how to become ... more. He stared at the fruit in his hands. You mean I'm becoming like you? Not quite, she replied, eyes lowering. But you are no longer fully what you were. The truth settled over him like mist. Dax had fought so hard to survive, but now he wondered, had he crossed some invisible line? And if so, was he glad? He chewed the fruit slowly. It was sweet and slightly tangy, but it tingled on his tongue like it carried energy, like it remembered him. Vela rose again and turned toward the pool, placing her fingers against the water's surface. It rippled with her touch, glowing where her skin met the liquid. Dax found his eyes drawn to her movements, the way her robe shifted like water, the elegant precision of every gesture. You knew I was coming, he said, the words out before he meant to speak them. Didn't you? She hesitated, her hand hovering over the water. I dreamed of you, she admitted, weeks before your arrival. I didn't know your name or your face, but the bond began forming long before you landed on Galarian. He stood, still weak but steady, and stepped closer. You said the milk can only heal if the eyes stay closed. What happens if they don't? Her back stiffened. If you see the ritual, she said, voice quieter, you see the source of the milk, the secret of our kind. And in doing so, you break the covenant. He reached out, his hand hovering just over her shoulder. Why is it so sacred? What's the risk? She turned to face him, her expression unreadable. Because the milk is not drawn from our bodies the way you understand it. It is summoned, brought forth through connection, through trust, through feeling. The ritual reveals ... everything. Our form, our history, our soul. And once seen, it can never be unseen. He felt his throat tighten. And has anyone ever broken that rule? Her violet eyes darkened. Yes, once. He was a human like you. A soldier, wounded in the field. I healed him. He opened his eyes during the giving. Saw what was not meant for his kind. He ran from me, called me a monster. Dax stepped closer. Did you love him? No, she whispered. But I mourned him. Silence fell. Not cold or empty, but fragile. Full of weight. I didn't run, Dax said. I didn't see. I trusted you. Vela looked up, eyes searching his face. Yes, and that is why. You are still alive. Their gazes locked, the space between them heavy with unspoken energy. He didn't know if what he felt was love, or some side effect of the milk's bond. But he knew this. He didn't want to leave. Not yet, and maybe not ever. Asterisk. The cave was quiet when the hunger started, not in his stomach, but somewhere deeper. A pulling sensation beneath Dax's skin, like a thread being slowly drawn taut. He paced the edge of the chamber restlessly, his boots silent on the moss-covered stone. Something inside him was stirring hot, electric, and unsettling. Vela was gone again. She often vanished for hours, gathering roots and drawing water from springs he wasn't allowed to follow her to. Every time she returned, she smelled of mist and violet blossoms. But this time, she'd been gone longer. And Dax was growing restless in ways he couldn't explain. The bond, she'd called it. Healing that linked them beyond the physical. But no one had warned him how close it would feel. How much of her he could sense when she was near her emotions, like light under his skin. And how empty it felt when she was away. He sat at the edge of the glowing pool, staring at his reflection. His face looked the same, mostly. Same scar above his brow. Same military cut. But his eyes, they gleamed faintly now, catching light that wasn't there. A soft glow pulsed beneath his veins, especially near his heart. He touched the spot where she'd first laid her hand to begin the healing. It still tingled sometimes. Whisper started like a breeze. His name, soft, unspoken but clear. Dax? He stood, heart racing. Vela? No answer. But something was pulling him gently, like a tether, toward the far passage of the cave. The place he'd been told never to go. He hesitated, then stepped forward. The tunnel narrowed, its walls covered in thick, braided vines. The air was warmer here, humid, alive with scent flowers, fruit, musk. The mist grew heavier, clinging to his clothes. A heartbeat thrummed faintly through the walls, matching his own. And then he saw it. A curtain of vines, slick with dew, softly glowing from within. Beyond it, a soft sound, breathing, movement. A whispered song in a language he didn't know, but one his bones responded to. He reached out. He didn't mean to. Truly, he didn't. But his hand parted the vines. And he saw her. Vela stood in the center of a chamber bathed in silvery light. Her robes were gone, her skin bare and shimmering, traced with glowing lines that moved like river currents under the surface. She was facing away, arms raised above her head, her form arched in a slow, graceful ritual. Her back flexed with each breath. Her hair floated gently, as if underwater. From her chest, not her breasts, but something deeper light poured outward in waves, coalescing into a luminous fluid that dripped into the vessel she held. It wasn't just milk. It was alive, pure, liquid energy. And it came from her very essence, her soul-given form. The truth hit him like thunder. The milk wasn't produced. It was summoned, drawn through pain, memory, vulnerability. It wasn't food. It was sacrifice. He inhaled sharply. And in that instant, she turned. Her eyes met his. Everything stopped. The song ended. The light flickered. And for a long moment, neither of them moved. He backed away, slowly, heart pounding. I didn't mean to. I heard something. And Vela lowered the vessel. Her face was unreadable. No anger. No fear. Just silence. You saw, she said softly, her voice cracking on the last word. I'm sorry, he said, breathless. You broke the covenant. He wanted to explain, to beg forgiveness. But he couldn't find the words. She stepped toward him, slow and calm, a glow on her skin already dimming. The bond between them pulsed erratically hurt. Confused, she reached out and touched his chest, right over his heart. The pain came instantly, not hers. His blood burned again. Not as violently as before, but enough to drop him to one knee. His veins lit up beneath the skin like molten wire. The healing was unraveling. No, he gasped. Please, she closed her eyes. I warned you, she whispered. You were not ready to see. Dax trembled, teeth clenched. Then teach. That made her pause. I want to understand, he rasped. I want to deserve what you gave me. She looked at him, eyes filled with tears that glowed like liquid stars. No one has ever asked that, she said. Not even the one before. You? He met her gaze, even as pain spread through his limbs. Then let me be the first. Silence fell again, heavy and raw. And for the first time since she had touched him on that battlefield, she didn't turn away. The pain lingered long after the moment passed, simmering just beneath Dax's skin like embers refusing to die. He lay curled on the cave floor, sweat slicking his body as tremors racked his muscles. His heart beat out of rhythm. His breath came shallow. But through the haze of suffering, he felt something else. Her presence. Still near. Still watching. Vela hadn't left. She stood at the edge of the chamber, draped once more in deep blue. Robes that clung to her like mist. The glow of her skin had faded to a soft hum, as if her light had withdrawn inward. Her eyes remained locked on him, unreadable, like a goddess staring down at a mortal who dared to touch fire. Dax pushed himself upright with effort. Why? Didn't you walk away? He asked, voice hoarse. I should have, she said, barely. A whisper. By every law of my people, I should have left you to burn. But you didn't. No. He forced himself to stand, legs shaking beneath him. Then help me finish it. Let me do this the right way. Show me what I broke, so I can put it back together. Her expression cracked for the first time, a fissure in the mask of restraint. Sadness bloomed across her features, followed by something deeper, resolve. You cannot simply fix it, Dax. You saw the essence. The sacred act. You opened your eyes and changed what was meant to remain unspoken. That bond, it's no longer pure. Then make a new one, he said. She blinked. He stepped closer, slowly, carefully. You said the milk is summoned through connection, emotion. What we have, what's been growing between us, isn't gone. Not to me. It's stronger now. Not in spite of what I saw. Because of it. Vela's lip trembled. You saw me as I truly am. I did, and I didn't run. She inhaled sharply, eyes closing for a moment. When they opened, the purple glow in her irises had deepened. There is one way, she said quietly. A final ritual. One that has not been performed in generations. The final offering. He nodded. Tell me, it is not a ritual of healing. It is of becoming. It fuses the healer and the healed. Their life forces joined, forever. Dax felt the words settle deep inside him, heavy but right. Will it heal me? It will make you something else. No longer fully human. No longer only Illyri, a third form. Something new, but it will consume the bond completely. If we do this, there will be no going back, no separation. He stepped closer, now only inches from her. And you'd be exiled for it. Yes, she said, voice trembling. I would lose my people, my name, everything. He cupped her face gently, thumb brushing her cheek. Then let me give you something greater to belong to. She trembled under his touch, her hands slowly rising to rest against his chest. Why do you care? She asked. We've known each other for only days. Because no one has ever looked at me the way you do, he said softly. Not as a weapon, not as a burden, but as someone worth saving. Her eyes filled with tears. You don't understand what this will mean, what you'll become. He leaned in, forehead resting against hers. Then let me find out with you. A long silence stretched between them, and then she nodded, double quotes, lie down, she said, her voice stronger now. And do not be afraid. Dax obeyed, settling onto the soft bed of woven roots and moss. The chamber darkened as the glowing vines around them dimmed. Only Vela remained radiant. She knelt beside him and slowly undid the ties of her robe. As it slipped from her body, the glow of her skin intensified, her markings pulsing like living constellations across her arms, hips, and chest. But this time, Dax did not stare in awe or lust. He saw her, entire, sacred. She leaned over him, her hands cradling his face. The final offering requires full surrender, she whispered. Your body, your will, your soul. I already gave them to you, he murmured. She smiled, a tear sliding down her glowing cheek. Then close your eyes one last time. He did, her body pressed against his, warm and soft, her heartbeat a song he could feel in his bones. Her lips found his, slow and deep, and the world fell away. Not into darkness, but into light. The joining began not just touch, not just sensation, but memory, history, pain and joy. Dax felt her birth, her exile, her dreams, her loneliness, as she felt his war, his silence, his guilt, his ache to be understood. Their breaths synchronized, their hearts beat as one. And in the final moment, when the milk returned, glowing, pure, they became something new. Above them, the jungle stirred, and the stars shivered, asterisk. The stars watched in silence. The jungle around them had stilled, as if the planet itself held its breath. Deep within the sanctuary cave, the air shimmered with raw energy light, curling around every surface like smoke made of moonlight. Dax Moron and Vela of the Illyri lay entangled in the heart of that sacred space, their bodies fused by something far beyond flesh. Their breath was one, their heartbeats one. Dax opened his eyes slowly, unsure if he was waking or being reborn. The ceiling above him was gone, replaced by a sky painted with swirling constellations he'd never seen, vivid shapes that pulsed like memories in motion. His senses had changed. He could feel Vela even before he turned his head. She was part of him now, not just beside him, but within her presence, thrumming like a second rhythm beneath his skin. He sat up. His body moved with eerie grace, lighter, stronger. The air hummed around him. Looking down, he saw faint violet lines etched beneath his skin, just beneath the surface remnants of her markings now carried in him. He turned to her. She was watching him, breathless. Her own form had changed. Her once delicate lines were bolder now, her glow warmer. Her eyes still held that soft violet light, but now In their depths was something unmistakable. Humanity. They had become each other. What? Are we? He asked, voice quiet with awe. She smiled, touching his cheek. Something the stars thought impossible. Before he could answer, a distant sound shattered the stillness. A horn, deep and mournful. Then another. The jungle echoed. With it, and the vines above the cave entrance writhed in warning. They're here, she whispered. The sentinels? She nodded, already rising, wrapping herself in her robes. But even they shimmered differently now, reacting to her altered form. They will feel the shift in the bond. They'll know we completed the final offering. They'll see us as abominations. Dax stood, his body responding with quiet power. The pain was gone. The scars were gone. And in their place, something ancient stirred, an energy not entirely his, not entirely hers. Something new. He strapped on the remnants of his gear, eyes scanning. The cave's entrance. Then let them come. I'm done running. No, she said softly. We don't fight them with fire. We show them what we've become. Outside, the jungle parted. 6 Illyri sentinels stood in formation, draped in ceremonial armor that glowed like forged crystal. Their weapons pulsed with restrained fury, and at their front stood the High Seeker, a towering figure with silver-streaked skin and a gaze like carved obsidian. He raised a hand. Vela of the Illyri. His voice boomed. You have violated our highest law. You shared the offering with a foreign soul. You are called to judgment. Vela stepped forward, calm, radiant. I do not deny it, she said, her voice resonating with strength Dax had never heard before. But I have not broken the law. I have evolved it. The sentinels stirred. This man, this human, did not take from me. He gave. He trusted. He became. And together, we formed what your laws could never imagine. Dax stepped to her side, eyes glowing faintly. We're not invaders. We're not enemies. We're proof. The sentinels hesitated. The High Seeker's weapon dipped slightly. You're not Illyri, he said. And yet, you are not wholly human. No, Vela replied. We are the first of the Fall Hen, the joined ones. Bonded by truth, not tradition. Forged through healing, not conquest. Behind the sentinels, something unexpected stirred. Jungle bloomed. Vines opened in radiant blossoms unseen for 1,000 cycles. Trees hummed with light. Even the sky shifted, rippling with auroras that had not danced in generations. The planet itself knew. It approved. The High Seeker lowered his weapon fully, eyes wide. It is said, when one gives the final offering, in love, and the other accepts in truth, the old world must bow to the new. Dax and Vela exchanged a glance. Then the Seeker did something no one expected. He knelt. One by one. The sentinels followed. You carry the future now, the Seeker sighed. It is no longer ours to deny. Vela breathed in deeply. Her eyes shimmered with tears, not of fear, but release. Later, as the sun rose over Valerian X, Dax and Vela stood hand in hand on the cliffs above the jungle. Human ships blinked. On the horizon, Illyri flyers joined them in cautious formation. For the first time, 2 worlds looked upon one another not as foes, but with trembling possibility. Dax turned to her. Do you regret it? She leaned her head on his shoulder, her smile soft and certain. No, because now I'm not just a healer. I'm a beginning, and I'm not just a soldier, he said. I'm finally home. Their lips met warm, electric, timeless, and above them the sky opened wider than it ever had before. The age of walls had ended. The age of joining had begun. The end. Asterisk.